Don in London, hello. Good morning. August 9th. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour and living life on life's terms. Living reality. August 9th this year, riots in London, 4 days so far. And it seems to have got more and more ugly as time has gone on. And there's lots of commentary about what should be done next. And I don't know what should be done next. But I do know why it happened. And it goes back many, many years. Anyway, I'll talk about that in a minute. Yes, all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. And whilst there are riots in London today, back in 1979, when I was in what is now a university, Margaret Thatcher got into power, and I could see what was going to happen next. I was studying politics, economics and sociology and psychology as a minor subject. And I became aware that if they got into power, life would change dramatically, different sort of taxation system, the shutting down of prime industries, and throwing people onto the scrap heap. 30 years later, people are on the scrap heap before they've even started work. I got drunk back then, but today I'm sober, and I have no intention of returning to a drink to quell my fear of what would happen next. Today we need to look for solutions, and that's the same in recovery. So today I'm a recovering alcoholic, been around a while, learning how to be sober one day at a time, and that means trying to find balance in what is happening, trying to understand the situation as it is, not as I would wish it to be, not as it is meant to be, but as it really is. And this is the danger in situations like this. People return to what they feel are good old-fashioned values, but the good old-fashioned values of looking after each other have been sadly worn away, and many people see themselves as having no future. And that's what kept me drinking in the end. I could see no future for me. So I drank to oblivion, never wanting to wake up, and hoped it would all go past me and I would just expire. But not now, not now, even when it's like this. I don't want to drink, I don't want to return to that madness, I don't want to expire. We all have a way forward to help. And I guess what I know more than anything is a sense of community to succeed in anything, one day at a time, makes the difference. So the riots of now, an illustration of what happens when people have nothing to hope for and no values, because nobody's valuing them, and that's where it's broken down. On a very simple level, people have no sense of their own value in society. Or if they do, it's born out of anger and resentment that some people have and some people have nothing. And most people have nothing at the moment to look forward to. At the same time, it's those people who will end up footing the bill. Because you can guarantee those who have will not let go of it. So a little bit of politics there. And for that I apologise for if it's offensive. It's not meant to be. It's how I see reality today. And it's only as I see it now. I may have a different informed view later. So what's helped me keep sober? Certainly not the situation as it is today. And it is a repeat of previous years where I felt despair and dislocated. What keeps me going now is actually part of the community, part of the fellowship, which keeps me on track one day at a time to be sober, to offer solutions rather than just criticism. Indeed, we say criticise not one bit. What we need to do is look to how do we mend our situation on a daily basis. So alcohol drove me to, well, the world, I thought, drove me to drink. It probably did to an extent, but then I stayed in the drink, which was my malady, my addiction. And these days I need help daily to keep on track and in the moment of now. So I'm part of a fellowship, and that fellowship is AA, and I'm very grateful that I'm in the fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't speak for AA, never can, never will, don't want to. But it keeps me sober, and I've made friends, and I understand how life works a little bit better on a daily basis. So what is AA? That organisation I do not speak for. Well, why can I? I can't. It's just unique, authentic people on their journey today. It's a one-day organisation, living in the moment. But most of us are trying to, and life can be very trying. So AA, I share the AA preamble here, from this little card, and then some of my own thoughts, as you've obviously guessed, plus some daily reflections from AA, which help me gain perspective as life is. So what is AA? Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. Does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So it's about community, fellowship, being a part of, included, having something to do to help other people. It's all embracing as a way of life, a way of living with our fellows in harmony rather than in destructive ways. And it means that we value each other. We place a value on a person as a going concern. We've been completely wrecked by our addiction. And a lot of us got there because we were trying to do the right thing, but it turned out to be the wrong thing. And we had to adapt and change. And the whole program or fellowship is about changing on a daily basis, making progress, developing and looking at the solution rather than actually complaining about the problem. Fits well with what is needed in our society today. And I'm very lucky. 700 meetings in London, all about recovery, all about open, honest and willing, all about the things I value highly. People. And that's what counts in the end, is how we treat each other, how we live with each other, how we learn to love one another. And I know that might sound like preaching, but it's an emphatic, heartfelt hope in me that we can do this. So that's where I stand on this. It's about, it's not the why. We know why these riots happened. It's because a lot of people are dislocated and disaffected. And it's young people who see no future. Why else would they go out and do what they're doing? Or why else would they feel it's okay to join in? So that's where it starts. We have to start with, how do we mend our relationships with each other? Especially taking account of what has been done over the last few decades. In fact, it's got worse. So it's difficult. And there are solutions. But it's got to be from within. It's not got to be imposed. And the one good thing that's been said today, which I totally agree with, community is key. How we look after each other. And how those means are made possible in our political and economic systems. Rather than, oh, let's not go there. Anyway, more about the world as it is. I haven't got all my notes here. Now, this is 2 days running where I've been discombobulated, and I think it's because I am unhappy and upset by what's happening in the world, because what's happening in the world is just not right. But I am powerless over people, places and things, but, you know, we get a view. We're not living in cloud cuckoo land, we live in reality. Where is it? I'm going to have to read it off my computer. the AA Daily Reflections for today. So forgive me for my tardiness, as I would put it. Okay. Our AA Daily Reflections from the AA Daily Reflections book, all about the 12 steps and 12 traditions. August is all about step 8, making a list of amends and being willing, making a list of amends and having the willingness to make them. So, step 8, Daily Reflection, August 9th. Of all persons we had harmed, and became willing to make amends to them all. One of the key words in the 8th step is the word all. I am not free to select a few names from the list and to disregard others. It is a list of all persons I had harmed, have harmed. I can see immediately that this step entails forgiveness, because if I'm not willing to forgive someone, there is little chance I will place his name or her name on the list. Before I placed the first name on my list, I said a little prayer. I forgive anyone and everyone who has harmed me at any time and under any circumstances. It is well for me to contemplate a small but significant 2-letter word every time the Lord's Prayer is said. The word is, I ask. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. In this case, as means in the same for me to contemplate a small but very significant 2-letter word every time the Lord's Prayer is said. I ask. In the same for me, in the same manner. I am asking to be forgiven in the same manner that I forgive others. As I say this portion of the prayer, if I am harbouring hatred or resentment, I am inviting more resentment when I should be calling on the spirit of forgiveness. And, you know, even after the 7/7 bombings in London, I remember on that very day there was a lady who was interviewed about the death of her son, I think it was. And she said, we need to forgive everyone. And eventually that's the only way forward. Forgive everybody everything. Because if we don't, then and practice self-forgiveness as well, in some ways. But that comes with time. It's not an obvious thing to do. Retaliation, resentment, put people down, angry, resentful. How dare they muck up my political system? How dare this economic system not work the way I want it to? How dare they riot? Well, is it any wonder that then we have to come back to community and a collective understanding of responsibility. Within the fellowship we do this. When we get into fellowship, we're wrecked often, or we've lost just about everything and have no sense of identity. And over time, and it takes time, we need to develop a sense of identity, purpose, inclusion. We can be a part of society. We can play our role, no matter how small it may be, and no matter what we get for it in terms of money. We all have our part to play. But if you're a young person and cannot see that, and have been told that if you don't get your exams, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that was the daily reflection from the AA Big Book, hijacked by me. So, this morning, my last statement, if you like, on a positive note. Thank God I'm sober. But my first thoughts this morning, riots in London. A breakdown in law and order, anger and resentment, loss of reason, and insanity rules. Why? The answers will come in time. Most of us know the answers, and many just cannot accept them. If we do not invest in people, people will likely divest those privileged in a broken society. Weak leadership, process-driven, reliant on the establishment, the old rules. Out of touch and out of sight, need a kick up the arse, and that's true. And many of those people who would have made it less painful and no need for a kick up the arse, who would counsel politicians and economists, have either run for the hills because they can't stand it anymore, been retired off because they're seen as belligerent and unhelpful, or simply let go because they're unaffordable under the new rules of the old establishment. From another time, and this is me again, I can recall working hard and putting every effort into my work, driven beyond reason to sustain the unsustainable. Job cuts, sell-off, and no guarantees of a future. I did what I always did, found another job to start. It looked bigger and better, and turned out to be more of the same. A breakdown for me, loss of purpose and no identity. I sought oblivion and wanted to end it all. Drink helped me on my way to hell back then. Despair and desolation, and mentally ill by working so hard, I had nothing left. No energy, no inner resource left to give any more. And still, it wasn't enough. And finding my way out of it, desperately climbing into a better, what looked like a bigger and better job. The horror of what was to follow, I could see it. And a bank which was going to be taken over and then taken to pieces. It was a difficult time. Anyway, we learn what we learn, and we can't tell anybody if they're in the middle of all of this, and they don't learn from history. They don't have the gravitas around them. They are lightweight in their attitudes and behaviour. They're a marketing man as a prime minister, or a businessman as a prime minister. Sometimes, reality. People need to be in touch with reality. And seeing a deputy prime minister go down to a riot area yesterday, listen to somebody who's been burnt out of their home and has absolutely nothing to offer them. Absolutely nothing to offer them, except go down the social services, and they'll find themselves in a rat-infested bed and breakfast. That's how it is in England today. Angry? I don't know that I am. But it makes people very despairing of what is going on. People worked hard for where they were, and to be burnt out of your home, I don't know what to say. I see how it happens. I don't condone it. August the 9th, 2010. So, before I go to bed at night, I forgive everyone and everything who has ever harmed me. Much easier after step 9 in our programme, after making the amends, and after a while of practising the steps. But if the resentment still lingers, I say fuck them, and then pray for them, and eventually forgiveness finds its way. Progress not perfect today. There's an awful lot wrong with our societies, and we don't need to make it worse by fuck them. We actually have to find a way to work with each other. But some people are not for working, they're for hanging on to old ideas which are causing the majority a lot of pain. And they think they're right. And that's called dogma, doctrine. We don't need that right now. And again, from I think it was 2009, this matter of honesty every day. Upon waking, my daily practice, if I ask myself, how am I feeling, then think why, then what I may do. If I try to deny my feelings, I start my day dishonestly. What I do is reflect and meditate, see the big picture, remind myself of steps 1 to 3. Powers over alcohol, people, places and things. And if I think I am powerful over those, life will get unmanageable. And came to believe a higher power would restore me to sanity. Definitely. The higher power wisdom which I get in the rooms where they've got a bit of gravitas. And there are many people outside the rooms with gravitas as well, who saw this all coming. I'm sorry, I'm relating this to current events. No, I'm not sorry. This is how it is in recovery. We don't lose our marbles, we get them back. Which can be very unfortunate because it can make us a bit critical. And then I have to remind myself it's solutions we need to look for within the community. What I do is reflect and meditate, see the big picture, remind myself of steps 1 to 3, the serenity prayer, which is can do, cannot do. I can do this any time of day. I can do this any time of day. It's a can do, can't do bit. And I was going to have a meeting this morning with a friend who's putting together in community programs, or wants to, about developing structured ways of helping people get back on track when they've been excluded from society. we've postponed it a day just in case, and see where we can go from there. Just in case, be careful. So, harsh times and difficult times in the world. You know, the Arab uprising showed what can be done and what the West doesn't do to help those who are also suffering from dictatorships. And then we find Greece, riots, other places, riots, and now London riots. These are hard times. So sobriety is all the more important for me, not to fall back into anger, get my flag out and fly it. I don't even know what colour it be these days. I'm for community, developing people, helping people learn how to have a sense of identity and be a part of. And that's what fellowship has taught me over the years. It's not about pointing the finger and saying they got it wrong, even if they did. It's what are you going to do next? How are we going to mend what is definitely broken? And a lot of us in recovery have understood this, that we need to keep on looking for solutions and not exacerbating the problem. Yeah, life is not good right now. But life is good right now because I can see it. So the Serenity Prayer, whenever I feel discombobulated or happy or sad or not quite sure about anything, it helps me with the can do, can't do. I can change my attitude and behaviour. I cannot change other people's attitudes and behaviour. We can provide pathways, understandings, so many things which would get people included and part of, rather than excluded, resentful, hateful, and doing bad things, criminal things, which they wouldn't maybe have contemplated in another time, another place. Personal responsibility, joint responsibility, community, as it is. So the Serenity Prayer works in all situations, and it doesn't just apply to me, it applies to everyone. But I can only speak for myself in this, and certainly not for fellowship. And this video has gone slightly around the houses. But you know, fellowship has provided me with a greater understanding of how to be involved, how to be included, how to include other people, how to be myself, how to get my identity back. Accept that there is only so much that we all can do, and we need the help of everyone to do it. Finally, the Serenity Prayer, to God or in good conscience, depending on your belief system. And it's your belief system which counts, not mine. Mine counts for me. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, for me, is just for today.